Welcome back to Cookies Milk, episode 68. I'm your host, William.
I'm your host, Ben.
And we're having cake today.
White cake, white frosting.
White cake, white frosting.
It's clean, it's a new year.
Yeah, and we're at Ben's apartment this time because we were out playing a fun new board game.
Not new, but
A fun board game.
It's a new game. Not fun.
A board game. Dark Souls, the board game.
Yeah, we played Dark Souls, a board game, which leads me into my topic for today, which is just difficulty. Again, I feel like we've talked about this before. But it's a topic that lends itself to many different discussions. Because I also want to talk about gang beasts, and the conversation I want to have about that is very similar.
Yeah.
They're two totally different approaches to it. The Dark Souls board game has so much shit going on. At all times. I feel like I'm playing an actual Dungeons and Dragons type deal.
There's a lot of stuff there.
And at the same time, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then Gang Beasts is it's just hard. There's so little going on there that I feel like I don't know what I'm doing ever. Even at the point where I'm alright, I'm really starting to understand Gang Beasts. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in Gang Beasts?
It gets worse the more people there are.
Yeah.
And by that I also mean it gets better the more people there are. Because, the environment's destroyed all around you. People are, clinging onto the side, trying to do it while you're also fighting other people on top. It's just a good time to be had, but it sometimes feels like you're not doing, the secret trick that gets you the thing, when in all reality, Gang Beasts is the absolute button masher. There's nothing else about it. You gotta be punching, you gotta be headbutting, that's it.
And that's, if there was, a stamina bar in the game, I feel like it would go, leagues to, making it more understandable, but that's just not what Gang Beasts is going for.
Mm-hmm.
It's, because so many games of Gang Beasts start with somebody presses the circle button once and you're unconscious.
Right.
And that's the end of the match. And it's just why did that happen? And you get up, or you'll have a fight with a person, and you'll get up and they'll knock you unconscious. And then you'll get up and start swinging at them, and then they'll knock you unconscious. And you'll get up and start swinging and they'll knock you unconscious.
And then they knock themselves unconscious.
Right, and it's just wait, so why did it take me so long to knock them unconscious?
Because there's no combo system.
Yeah.
In a fighting game, can you call it a fighting game or a party fighter? Because you can't knock people out with boxes or the environment. If you could, I think that would add. If you could grab a pole and hit him with it, using all the physics the game offers, that'd be fun.
Because then what you would end up with is so often when you have somebody just hanging off the ledge and it's just you gotta do something here. And I'll go over to the conveyor belt and grab a box and just drop the box on you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything. It's what's the point of this box being here? Also, a stamina bar I think would be a great implementation to the climbing system.
Yeah.
Or to the hanging system. Don't get me wrong, I like the hanging system and it feels great when you're hanging off the side and you come back finally. But it's the opposite when
You're the other person that sees them come back finally.
Or, you're on the blimp stage, and they're, all the way at the bottom of the blimp stage, and you're just what am I have to wait here for you?
Yep.
Or, we're playing, and one person will, climb up the wall and just, hang there on the wall forever, and it's so then what?
Yeah.
So what happens? We go to the timer, we go to fucking...
Hold on. Sometimes the grip just fails, though. You'll be climbing and then the grip fails.
I feel like you should do it more often.
Yeah, I think it's also, it'll happen if, player input fails as well.
Yeah.
Because, you can panic at that point. You can hold L1 and R1, but then you might fumble with it, and then you'll both drop.
That's the trade-off I'm always expecting. Whenever I'm watching somebody climb a wall and I just, sit under them, I'm I don't have to do anything. You have to keep holding the buttons.
Yeah.
And, also some stages where the floor breaks.
I really like those stages, because, not so much Ferris wheel, because there's huge swaths of ground that just breaks.
Yeah, you can't respond. You're just dead.
With girders
is great.
Girders, you see the ground crack, and you can jump off and if you're not fast enough, you fall. But you can grab onto the sides.
Yeah,
And you can hold yourself there.
You can't do that on Ferris wheels.
Yeah, with Ferris wheels, there are certain parts of it in wheel where you can fall through and you can grab the sides because there's only one plank missing. But with a lot of it, it's like 3 to 2 planks instead.
And in girders, like, the whole floor is going to break, and everybody starts on the floor. With Ferris wheel, you're all on different cars, so it's like, well, I gotta step off for a second, and then I'll hop into another car, and it's like, nope, if you step off for a second, you're dead.
Or
So
you can jump between cars.
Yeah, you have to jump between them. I do like, though, because it was like, there's no timer, it's never gonna, like, and then the Ferris wheel starts spinning and, like...
And then breaking all the things.
Yeah.
And I mean... I do like vents. No, wait. I meant fan. When the fan blows up and it sucks down. Because so few times, like... I want the people who we play with to get to the point where they start to... Actually, I'll double out.
Yeah.
Where we start to... Where they all figure out that, oh, instead of trying to fight players, you need to hold on while it's blowing up. And then be also super careful when it blows down, or sucks down, like and because I want the bridges to come into play more.
Yeah,
because I know they can break apart, but you don't see it enough because players are more
Fighting each other,
than likely fighting and going over to the fans and just punching each other when it's more survival tactics like. And with, I like elevators because you can't always depend on the elevators going in your way.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually they will both break if you can't succeed in getting on top or something like that.
So, it really just comes down to... So, the term party fighter is the one that this game is. And there's a lot of this genre. But you can be really heavy on the fighter side, like Smash, where you can have like a whole competitive scene, or you can be really heavy on the party side. I feel like Smash is. I'm trying to think. So I can't think of any games that are like real good in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I guess Smash is, if you just turn all the items on and everything.
Yeah, like Smash is pretty good. Like, there's a point where it's like dumb luck and skill, and both coincide very well with Smash, because, like, sure, they can get the final smash, but if you know the character's final smash, you can dodge it.
Yeah.
Sure, they might get a Master Ball, but if you know what the Pokemon does, you can dodge it.
Yeah, or if you like catch the Master Ball or
you
fight
can
the Master
catch
Ball.
the Master Ball.
So, Smash is real good because at its absolute peak, it's like, isn't Smash Tour?
Yeah.
Smash Tour, which is absolutely just like, feels more like a party game than it does any sort of fighter or any semblance of that.
Right.
And at its other peak, it's 1v1.
For Glory.
For Glory Final Destination. And that's just a fighting game, like it's just a raw fighter.
Right.
And then in the middle, there's like just items on medium.
Certain items turned off.
Yeah. Certain stages, specifically.
Not targeted.
And then Gang Beasts is just like, whenever I'm like, I feel like if Gang Beasts tweaked like this or this or this, it could be like more legitimate, but then like that's not what Gang Beasts wants. What do we got, 8 minutes?
Yeah, only 8 minutes.
But it's just not what Gang Beasts wants.
Yeah. Gang Beasts wants to be like a bare knuckle boxer.
Yeah, when I'm sitting there, I'm like, why the fuck didn't I ever wake up? Gang Beasts is like, there's like, you didn't wake up, dude. That's funny.
And it's like, you keep getting knocked out. That's pretty funny, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, so when you look down and think about it, you're like, that is actually kind of funny.
Because, like, with Gang Beasts, like, a lot of the outfits in Gang Beasts hinder people's ability to pick you up and throw you off the edge.
Yeah.
Because, like, I play a forest man. I play a man with a beanie that always falls off. And is like, he has, like, a beard and with, like, some branches in it. And he has a big trench coat. And also, like, a scarf. And if you pick him up by the hems of the trench coat, you can't take him out. And you can also grab him by the beard, and that won't work either. Yeah. So I'm playing a character who is hard to pick up. You got to grab him by the chest, and that's the only way you can do it. You can also pick him up by his legs, but you got to get
not easy
in the coat. And if you're next to an edge, you can just sort of scooch him in.
Yeah.
Like, But there are also characters like with aprons and stuff like that, and hats that can fall off, that like a Big Burger hat.
I really should just play as more characters with capes and stuff because it's a huge advantage.
Like, and if that was a big problem, then if Game Beast was a bit more of a competitive scene, like you'd see like no old man, no
old man band,
old forest man band,
or they would just like
no aprons,
or they would just like release a patch that was like,
hey, you grab through the coat.
Yeah, you grab through the coat.
But that's no fun.
Yeah, then that's not what Game Beast wants. Game Beast is like, oh man, you can't grab the old man by the coat. That's pretty funny. Like you grab him by his coat, and it's the same thing whenever you're like just playing, and you go to grab him, and your character grabs like the walls instead of them, and it's like, why, Game Beasts?
And that gives them a chance to get back up if they are experiencing a time where they keep getting knocked out.
And you just gotta really just mash the buttons.
It's a balancing act sometimes.
It is not. As soon as you're like, it's sort of a balancing act. It's like different. There's a bunch of different like ways that the game works together. That is not exactly. So I'm gonna look over the Dark Souls board game because Gang Beasts I feel like is just they put a bunch of shit in the game and they're like, this is sort of fun.
Yeah,
like this is all wacky and fun to do.
And people enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
Constructible environments add a lot to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun part.
That's why I don't like Incinerator or like Grinder. Like, sure you can break the gates are one thing for Grinder.
Yeah.
And I suppose the banisters are another thing for Incinerator. But I like Gondola, where it's like if you're fighting rough and it's not and no one's going down, the gondola is going to start breaking. Like if you hit the cords long enough, or if that's you just want to cause a nice fuck around, then you can break the cords, or you could climb on up, and the player who can't climb on up will die first because you break the cords and the gondola falls. Or you remove the bridge and you fight anyone who comes over to you. Same thing with towers, like with the staircase. I love the staircase so much because it's like it starts to crumble and fall. Because like the rest of the whole other towers is like you're punching people. You might grab the fence instead of grabbing them.
But the fence breaks so easy.
Yeah.
Like more often than not, like it's not even a stage where you have to try. If you're just like punching somebody, you're gonna break the fence. They're gonna get knocked out and they're just gonna fall off.
That's true.
You don't even have to pick them up and throw them, which is why it's one of my favorites. Because I feel like No Sage Billboard is a big one.
Billboard's a big one. Like, you can't climb because the pieces fall away. Like, our little sister got really high on Billboard today, and I was, like, surprised to see that she got that far, like, nearing the top.
Yeah.
Because normally they fall off.
They fall off, yeah, immediately as soon as you grab them. But Billboard has, like... So, what'll happen on Billboard is one of two games. One, it's over in a second.
Yeah.
Like, one person punches somebody, and they, like, both fall off the side.
Yeah, they
and, like,
grab them as they wake up.
Yeah. Because there's no fence, and, like, everybody just dies in a second. Or one person, like, gets in to the billboard, like, the inner parts,
and you can't
grab them. And then, like, you fall into the billboard, so you're both in the billboard, and you just can't move.
What I liked about old Billboard, I've watched a lot of videos of old Gang Beasts, and there used to be a time when you could do, like, a course, and you fight enemies, like, during the entire course.
Uh-huh.
I think that's right. And there was a stamina bar, and there was a health bar.
Huh.
I don't know if health is the right word, but it was a stamina bar that you did, like, grip strength and, like, when you would not get knocked out. But old Billboard had... I feel like the floor was more destructible then, and also there was, like, an L, like, a line that jutted out of it.
Yeah.
That you can kind of do, like, a fight, like, a end of Bespin fight on.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I think that was fun. Like, it was fun when that was happening. But right now, Billboard has, like, a really small space that, like, I guess it prioritizes, like, mashing X as hard as you can in order to not, like, fall. Like, in that moment, like, Old Man is very good there, because if they're floundering with your coat and you wake back up, you can grab onto the floor and then, like, keep staying in the fight. But if they can grab you immediately and toss you off, that's pretty much it. Like,
it's fun imagining, like, a tier list for Gang Beasts.
Like, stage-wise or
no, like
outfit-wise?
Outfit-wise, yeah.
Old Man is a pretty high tier.
Old Man is probably the highest tier. There's a lot of talk about banning him competitively.
You guys get so mad at me, and I love playing as him.
I guess, like, we all just gotta start doing that.
playing as old man.
Yeah, that's the real way to do
Hey,
it.
hold on a minute.
What?
Play as characters with the capes. Like, it's the same thing.
But he's got a beard also.
Okay, so... But what about the guy with the comb-over?
Not as good.
I mean...
He doesn't have a cape.
True. You can make outfits.
Sure, let me...
You can make outfits!
We're all old man now. So let
I don't
me...
want to all be old men. It's my look.
Well, then you shouldn't have made it so good.
I didn't make it good. That's the game.
So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so let me run you guys down of how I play Gang Beasts. Whenever I start playing Gang Beasts, I play as the comb-over wrestle guy.
Yeah.
And I say... Is that Korra? Yeah, there it is. I say that. I say, alright, if I win the match, then I get an upgrade. So I get to, like, maybe put a better shirt on, and, like, I'm working in the accounting
Because there's the
office
same
now.
guy with the comb-over in a business suit as well.
Yeah, and if I don't, then I gotta work as maybe I'm the mascot now. I'm like, I lost that, or I'm like, I just lost my job entirely, so.
Right.
But yeah. So I'm usually comb-over guy. Because that's just how it goes. I'm trying to mix it up recently. Because we play a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
So,
We've been waiting for so long.
yeah, I can't believe that Gang Beasts had like an older version. I
Oh,
really
there were
would
so
have
many older
expected
versions.
that this was like they just like made the game and then this was Gang Beasts.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, no offense, but it's a fucking mess.
Right now,
Yeah, we've crashed the game so many times.
we've crashed once.
I feel like we've had more issues than that.
We had a lot of issues in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's gotten a lot better. We just got it kind of like lagging today, but we haven't noticed many problems other than that.
But that's what I mean. Also, like what I was talking about when it was like, why am I unconscious like for this entire game? And Gang was just like, it's funny. It's funny that happens. So it's weird to me that that's on purpose. So
I guess they assign random values.
yeah,
to
like every time a
punches
game
in the
starts.
headbutts and stamina.
Yeah, they're just like you're randomly unconscious.
Yeah,
So I'm looking over the other one. We played the Dark Souls board game today.
and it was so calculated.
It was kickstarted, and we spent like 2 hours, or an hour and a half, just like trying to learn the rules and everything.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And I even still got it wrong for a couple parts, and we didn't even go through everything.
Yeah,
It's so bizarre because you put little bars for your stamina, and it said at the beginning of your activation you gain 2 stamina. So I was like, oh, so you add 2 stamina to the
Right,
thing.
yeah,
And I was like,
that's-
that makes sense. When do you lose it? But it's like, no, you spend stamina by putting blocks in and gain stamina by losing it. I was like, that's
right. Yeah,
whatever.
it doesn't make much sense.
And then, like, just as a whole concept of the game, I didn't understand how it was supposed to work. Like, on paper, I was like, alright, so there's a dodge thing where you just roll the dodge dice and you see if you beat it. And then, like, there's a block thing, so you get to roll different block dice. And then there's the attack thing. And I was like, and all this makes sense. And then it was like, if there's 4 people in your thing, you get 8 souls every time you beat a room.
Yeah,
And then it's like, alright. And then it's like, in order to level up one stat once, it's 2. And then level it up again, that's 4. And it's like... And then it's like, so you start flipping cards to get equipments, and that's 1 soul, and you can't equip any of it until you've leveled up like 3 times. And it's like... So when the fuck...
right. So ideally, it would be one of those things where everyone increases their stat once after an encounter, but at
Yeah.
the same time, you need to be rolling equipment, so one person would take the hit.
Yeah. And then, like...
So you get 2 pieces of equipment while everyone... So I think the main way to do it is get 2 pieces of equipment. See who needs it and who would need that upgrade. So say I'm playing the warrior and I get a shield that the warrior can use. I'm like, oh, I really need this. And I need to evolve my strength twice and my dexterity once. So we have wasted 1 point so far.
Yeah.
I have 7 points left. You could give me you could give me 2 upgrades. And then we could pull another.
Right.
So we got...
So you get 2 levels, we get 2 equipments, and then we get a... one other person levels up.
That would be...
That's 8.
Right, so I would have wasted... If I gave 2 basic, I would have gotten... That would have been 6 with the 2 pulls.
No, if you went 2 basic...
Two basic level ups and
2 pulls, that's 6.
That's 6, and then one person, if they... Whatever that item is, say the cleric, the
Herald.
The herald, there's a new cast chime. And it's like, oh, the herald needs 1 in faith, which that won't work because the items are so broken. And so it's like, okay, then the Herald gets a level up in Faith, and then after the next combat phase, I'll get my final upgrade that I need, and the Cleric and the Herald will also get their final upgrade.
Yeah.
And then we get those two, and then we spend some more.
But that's a very hypothetical situation.
That's a very hypothetical situation.
We flipped a bunch of cards that needed like 3 upgrades each.
And we kept also pulling gems that could go on the items we could upgrade.
Yeah, and so it's like basically useless. And like nothing was ever going to be good for me. I played as the assassin, who in the first room, when I was dodging, I was like, this is great. And then in the second room, or even at the second time I was doing the first room because we died,
Yeah.
I was like, this is worthless. So the assassin, and I feel like there was almost too much thought put into this whole thing, so much so that it like just runs out at the finish line.
Yeah.
The execution just like doesn't turn out as well as I'd like it to. So the assassin has an S-Stock as the weapon, which rolls 2 attack dice and then minuses the result by 1. So at maximum,
3 damage.
3 damage. At minimum, negative
None.
1.
Like, yeah.
More likely than not, 1 damage. But 3 damage isn't even that good because most enemies have at least 1 in defense.
Yeah, so you'd be dealing 2 damage.
And then we fought an enemy in the next room that had 2 defense.
Yeah, and you had to roll 2
I had to do my special attack just to hit it. And then, like, so I was doing that every single turn and dodging, which is a stamina, and I was just, like, loading the fuck up. And I still wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, and as soon as you failed the dodge, you were dead.
I just
It did
died immediately.
6 damage.
Yeah, I just got punched the fuck out. So the question I really had to ask, like, the whole game is when was I supposed to get better?
Yeah. Because you didn't pull the right... Like, we didn't pull things that would be good for you.
And
Like,
even
if we could have pulled something that gave you better damage, I think we would have been in a better place. Or real...
Yeah.
Like...
Had we pulled something that anybody could have equipped, we would have been great. But all the stuff was, like, way the fuck out there. And so many goddamn gems.
Also, we didn't prioritize one or the other. Like, in the match, I had the potential of getting a better armor that would let me roll 3 defensive dice against someone who could deal a lot of damage to me. However, Randy also got a better weapon that he could use if he upgraded himself a lot. Like, we were both going up 2 tiers and 1 tier respectively in 2 different ways. But that was like a big toll and a big decision to make for the party. And we eventually decided on, like, okay, I'll upgrade once here, and you also upgrade once here, and then we'll probably do fine on the next fight, and we didn't. We failed. Like, if I was able to roll 3 defensive dice in the next fight with the 6 damage guy, I think that fight would have gone better.
But here's the thing. So, and the game doesn't feel like it scales at all for having 4 people in it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see anything about that. Like, you get more fires and you get less souls. So it's just like, what the fuck? Because you get 2 souls per person. So if you were doing that with 1 person getting 2 souls every time, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's
You're
really
just
bad.
fucked.
That's really bad.
But even with us, so it's like, alright, so say we did get you your armor. So you could roll 3 defense dice.
Yeah.
Or Randy got his great sword and was able to deal more damage. That doesn't fucking do shit for the rest of us. Because you only go once every 4 turns.
That's true.
And the enemies get to go all the time. Every fucking time
They
they
get to go 4 times.
And it's just like, what? So I got to dodge all my stuff. But it was literally, like we saw, like the one time I couldn't dodge, I died.
Yeah, because you were dodging so much. The
And
stamina
using
built
my
up.
full thing. And then, like, man, just like the rest of us, it was just bad. So the question there becomes, like, they put so much work into it. I don't know how it's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hypothetically, we're going to play it again. Just timing thing. But when and how and what are we going to do differently? We're just going to get luckier, like with the first room?
With the rolls and the dice in the pulls. Yeah. Because it is a random system.
Yeah, there's so much randomness.
It's hard to pull off a randomized system when the game is so difficult. I feel like they forgot that with Dark Souls. Like the Dark Souls game, everything is methodical.
You're scaling.
You're scaling as it goes. With the Dark Souls board game, you're pulling from a random deck of cards, and you're pulling a card that's like, oh, an ancient greatsword that I need maxed all of my stats in order to use. I'm level 1, and I wasted a soul that could give me a level up that would give me the chance to use a different weapon.
So here's the thing. So you have two different games that are difficult, I would say. Like they're... I'm not sure if I would say... I don't know if I would say difficult, but they're definitely hard.
Yeah.
But Gang Beasts counterbalances it in that I don't really give a fuck. I've never had a day of Gang Beasts where I was like, this game is fucking garbage, and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play this anymore. But we finished that Dark Souls thing, and I was like, I don't know that I ever want to play this again.
Yeah, there's a lot to put into it, because with Gang Beasts, you can just sit down, grab a controller, punch it up for like one match, and that's it.
And it's like, oh, so you died in that match, whatever. Next time, died in that match, whatever. Next time, died in that match, whatever. And that's over, and then you get to start a new round.
Yeah.
We spent an hour and a half learning how to play Dark Souls, and like another hour and a half playing it.
And then we just got crushed.
And I didn't feel like I was having a good time doing like any of it. Like even when I was dodging, I'm like, great, and then I would attack and do nothing, and I was like, great.
Like that's the thing. Like with Dark Souls, it starts out being like, oh, we got a plan right here. And then the game is like, hey, I've just thrown something at you that you can't possibly plan for. Like, I'm a guy with 2 defense, and a lot of you only can deal 2 damage max. Like, our Herald could not...
Our Herald could deal 3 damage max.
Right.
If they did their super stamina attack.
Right, but they needed us... we needed them in order to reduce the stamina you were using. Like, I was not consuming any stamina in that fight.
Randy was also using stamina.
Right. But here's the thing. I'm useless in a one-on-one fight. Because the whole point of me is to hit everyone.
Arguably, you're the best in the 1v1 fight.
Because, yeah, I guess, because I'm not using stamina. But I'm so detached. Like, the big thing I have to think about is, like, should I try to dodge and hit the successful dodge with a 50% chance, or should I try to block it and only take like 2 damage max?
Yeah. So there's also the big thing for you was like, so you at base level are probably one of the best units
because I deal the most damage.
Because you just roll 2 dice and that's it. Like that's just your neutral.
Yeah.
The downside to that is that when you wager in stamina, doesn't do that much.
It doesn't give me much. I can't over damage what I can't get more out of it.
You need to have like 3 enemies or 2 enemies on a tile, and if that's happening, hoo boy.
Yeah, I'm not having a good time with that. Like, I haven't reached a point where that works for me because it's like, oh, the enemies are moving around aggression wise like so much, and like the enemies attack someone else, and then it's my turn, and they're not looking at me.
Yeah. I feel like if the game literally just like had a initiative system,
yeah.
So it would go like you enemy, you enemy, you enemy. I feel like it'd be better.
It's so weird to manage that type of thing without like a set dungeon master. Like, and it'd be helpful if the enemies could roll.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wish they wouldn't have a set damage. Like,
yeah, that kills.
They could like, okay, they roll 3 dice, and it's like, okay, they deal their max can be 6, but hey, they just
is 0.
But they just rolled 3 duds.
Yeah.
So you're doing pretty good, and you could counter it with the defensive dice.
It gives you a real reason to roll the defensive dice.
Yeah, it's really weird how games with involving dice are really scared to roll dice against each other.
Yeah.
Like, with Dungeons and Dragons, like, you can have, you can do counterspell, and you have to beat, yeah, I know, it's never like, they make a roll, and you make a roll.
Which is weird, because that's one of, like, the coolest things of adventures.
Yeah. I mean, there's grapple checks, like, you have to beat, like, you grapple together, like, if they're trying to fight you, and it's like, okay, and they roll against your... No, you have a spell DC and they roll against it. They like having set numbers.
Yeah.
And I get that, but it's like... Hey, why not make it a bit more doable?
It's like... The thing that it adds into it, if you're both rolling dice, is it adds a level of interaction.
Yeah.
And it adds a level of luck to it,
Right.
which is like because when an enemy rolls like just like a 19 and just like naturally can just beat the shit out of your armor modifier, like would you just take that? There's nothing you can do.
If an enemy eventually starts, yeah, no, I mean you can level into certain classes that lets you reduce damage taken. Like barbarians can take half damage on certain things, and they can just multi-class into one class that halves everything but psychic damage. So that's pretty good, but with adventures, sure they can roll like an 18, and you might roll an 11, but they might be not adding a lot to that, and you can add a lot more.
Yeah.
You're adding charisma, and they're like a person adding intelligence. So they're not actually set up to pass per se, because if you're a charismatic person and you had like plus 10 and you get a 6 on the dice and they get a 14, if they only have a 2 in intelligence and they only had half,
yeah,
you still beat them.
It's a lot of ups and downs too, because it's like when you're rolling to do damage, or when you're rolling to attack them and you're like, God, I hope this works, and you get like a 19 and they get like a 4, even if they're like the most intimidating person in the game, you can still like hit them off that.
Yeah.
And then you like roll a real high damage on them and you're like, wow, I actually did a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
And then the opposite is also true.
You might roll a nat 20 into a nat 1
right,
for damage.
An enemy goes like, all right, I'm going to attack you, and I get a very low number, or I get a very high number, and then damage comes around and you roll like a 2, and it's like, all right, you're taking 10 damage. It's like, that's not that bad, honestly.
Right.
That's why I'm consistently worried about the parry system, because I worry that's almost like too much.
Right. It's the growing pains of a simplistic combat system.
Yeah. Because it's like, you roll a dice, they roll a dice. Check that out. Do some math. But then it's like, all right, so they attack you and you try and dodge. You got a higher dodge? That's it. You dodge it. And then you move on to blocking. And it's like, you roll a dice, they roll a dice. If you roll higher on your block, well, I mean, they still get to roll damage, but then you got to subtract by your defensive and your block modifier.
Which can be pretty good in kind of mid-stages, I want to say.
Yeah. Because it's very good in early game, because enemies aren't going to be adding that much to their attack modifiers.
Well, I'll say agility is very good early game.
Oh, agility is very good early game and late game.
But I think block gets better as the game progresses, because you're going to be adding a lot more.
At the point where you're like, I'm adding plus 5 to block and I have plus 6 to armor, you're like, I'm plus 11 to my defense on successful
I
blocks.
was looking at Tori's... I was playing with the other group, and Tori adds 5 to defense, even though she plays a Ratman who is particularly like focused on agility. And I realized I gave her the option to do that based on leather alone. Like, you can get up to a healthy defense on leather alone, but like, leather's not going to get you to the high ranges that metal will.
Oh yeah, like late game stuff?
But metal will subtract your agility eventually.
Right, that's a trade-off.
So like, you can still specialize in agility, but still be like, I might want to not take 5 extra damage from this attack, so I can hold on to some defense.
Yeah, that's what Afer's considering doing. Assuming things later. So, blocking is pretty good. And then, so I recently inputted parrying. Yeah, what time are we at?
We're at
Call this soon.
33, yeah.
Parrying is if you're not fast enough to dodge attacks or strong enough to block them, some skill weapons will have a parry stat, allows you to parry attacks. You will need a specific weapon to parry ranged magic attacks, lets you add your skill and the weapon's parry stat against an attack. If you're successful, you roll so here's how many dice get rolled. When you are dodging, they roll attack, you roll dodge. If they succeed, they roll damage.
Right.
When you are blocking, you both roll. If they succeed, they roll damage. When you are parrying, they roll. Even if you succeed the block, they still roll the damage. So maximum dice rolled in this scenario, it's Minimum dice in dodging is 2. Max is 3. Minimum in blocking is 2.
No.
Minimum is 3. Maximum is 3.
Right. Unless there's crits involved.
Right, unless there's crits involved. But I mean, still, that's...
Still only 3.
Yeah, it's all in 3. In parrying, the minimum is 2.
Okay.
Because you roll to parry, and they roll to attack, and then they roll damage, or they succeed, and then they just attack you. The maximum is 4 dice. They roll to attack, you roll to parry. If you successfully parry, they roll damage, and you roll how much you're parrying, and then have that result.
Oh, I guess.
So that's the trade-off, is like, it's high risk, high reward, because like, you're... And it's for the kind of character that's like just in skill, so if you just like... I mean, if you block it, think about it like this. You block it, you roll an 18 on the dice, so you're reducing it by 9, minus whatever your defense is, and they only rolled a 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So, block gets very good for low damage rolls. It's basically just like dodging, eventually. Say you're adding like 15 on a block.
You're absurd, yeah.
That is very good. But block might fail.
Yeah.
But you're still adding like, you might add just 8.
And it also sucks when you're like, alright, I'm blocking, check my shield, and now I get to reduce by my, and then you roll an add 20
and
on
then
the
you
damage.
can add 20 of damage, but that's how it goes.
And that's, because the biggest thing here is that like, so parrying is pretty risky, but I feel like that's what you get.
We should also talk about if we're talking about this on the podcast, we should also talk about magic, because agility is the only thing that can counter magic. In early game,
yeah.
Because
that's the point.
I was playing, I threw a combat situation at the other group where it was just 3 bandits. And they had simple defenses, but they could get chewed up by magic. And it's like, okay, so the mage was dealing 20 damage every turn to the archer, and the archer got like 5 to 10 damage a turn until he rolled a lucky 20 on a damage roll.
So, and here's the trade-off here. I'm consistently trying to figure out how I'm balancing out magic. And I feel like, so I looked at it again, and it's like, you need so much in magic to like be casting these spells early game.
Yeah.
And that's true.
And that's taking away from strength to block, agility to dodge, and skill to parry.
Right, but the trade-off there is people can only dodge it. You're not going to find bandits that have magic defense.
Yeah.
Or bandits that have magic block or parry.
Yeah, that's very, like, magic defense is one thing. Blocking with magic is another thing.
Yeah.
Or, how about this? There's a ward spell.
That just blocks magic?
So, you remember Skyrim? The ward spell that people would put up in front of them? It looked like a wall of, like, magic. And, like, you could shout at them, but it bounced back at you.
Yeah.
And magic would not pass through it. So I was thinking something like that, maybe. Like, there's a warding spell. Because shield, I think, is kind of weak.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
ward could give... We should definitely look into a spell that gives magic defense instead of normal defense.
But I mean, we can just edit shield. So
True.
It prevents all damage.
That is true. So
the thing I'm trying to say here, since we should wrap this episode at some point,
yeah,
is that making a hard game is hard.
Yeah.
Making a difficult game is hard. Because you really have to balance everything. You have to, at the end of the day, end up with a product that is difficult. And people have to acknowledge that, like, yeah, that was kind of tough. That was, like, really difficult for me to get through. But I didn't want to quit.
Right. You look at the numbers, you gotta look at all the numbers and say, like, hey, so this seems unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into a room and the numbers just... If the numbers aren't in your favor, that's it.
So then that's kind of the conversation I want to have with the people who made the Dark Souls board game. Is like, am I doing something wrong here? Or is this literally, like, fucking unstoppable?
I feel like we could... You know what? We could do something where we have a card pool where there's only cards we can equip with a level up. With a single level up.
Yeah.
We should just go through it, because right now... Because we're in the mid-boss area, right?
Yeah. And then add in the second one later?
After, in the boss area. How about... That sounds like a good plan.
That's probably enough by itself to, like, really work it out.
Because if we can grab things that, like, one upgrade slot, and you only need to upgrade strength once, maybe twice, in order to get, and you're doing more damage to the enemies around you. Why didn't we think of that?
The thing is, because it seems like it should.
It should.
That's how it should be. Like, that's common sense that you should be able to find things like, oh, I need to upgrade myself 3 times for this, so I need to use more, or I need to use all of our fucking gains to do this. That doesn't make any sense. How would I even buy this if I had to use all our gains to do this?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in regular Dark Souls, you have to highly specialize yourself in order to use a fucking giant greatsword. Like, you can't be like, oh, I want summon intelligence and faith. You have to be like strength, 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 strength. And I mean, it's definitely a topic to be talked about. From Software didn't make the board game, right?
No, I don't think so. I think one of the things that could happen is if we're gonna play it again, we need to have like a home rule system and like really tweak it a bit.
I think I want to
try it out with the cards.
I want to just try it out with the cards because I think that's what's holding us back.
Yeah, because just pulling so many cards that we couldn't use was like so we're just wasting our goddamn.
Yeah, but I do like the strategy it brought up.
Also, like, where you really have to
the strategy talk. Yeah, but like we would debate like who would need it more. Like Randy was like, I really think we would need more damage. And I'm like, I think I need more defense.
Yeah.
If the last situation we were just in, where we walked into a situation where it would be more ideal for me to have
more. We did so. We talked about the having more defense room as we were going into a different room.
Yeah.
And in that room, it probably would have been better to be able to deal more damage. But in the other room, unquestionably would have been better to take more hits.
Yeah, because I was able to take those hits, and I could have been dealing damage to all the enemies around me and not have the worry of taking health damage while also using up my stamina.
Yeah. I feel like also one of the big things about Dark Souls, I assume, is this is how it is in Neo, is when you level up stats, there's real results for that.
There's not.
There's not?
Okay, so with Dark Souls, I feel so detached from the stat system because it's like, oh, it might be tied to a weapon.
Right.
But once I use it, I feel like I haven't gained a thing. Like, there's equip load, there's health, there's max stamina, there's max magic, at least for Dark Souls 3. There's like resistances and stuff. But if something's going to kill you...
It's going to kill you.
It's going to kill you. If you're dealing with poison, you're going to get poisoned. And you have items for that.
So I guess that's a fair point. In Neo, one of the things it did was whenever you put a point into something, it would tell you all the in-game stuff that's going to go up because you put that point into things.
It does that in Dark Souls.
Yeah, so...
like, with Neo, how is it... Do you get one-shot a lot?
I have not specified at all. But, like... You get one shot a good amount. Everything puts a 10 into health. That's the first thing it does.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm definitely sturdier, like, than I was in the beginning. But you're right in that it feels like it doesn't matter. Like, if something's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. So I put, like, very few points into just upping my health.
I guess, from my perspective, I'm bad at leveling up in Dark Souls because I don't specialize. I try to be an everyman. I'm like, oh, I might want to go for pyromancy early on, or I eventually just become like a half faith, half heavy weapon. But at that point, I've already invested some time into pyromancy, like wasted souls on it and wasted XP on it, which is the same thing. That I have messed up my leveling system, and I'm not good enough with a weapon in order to get through the Boreal Valley. Just throwing that random thing out there.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
All of the enemies are like really fast and hit for a fuck ton of damage. You know, no.
Just as an example.
I can't do it. And all the bosses in the castle just so happen to be heavy on magic, and I can't reach them in time before they disappear. And then they kill me with magic.
What is it?
Just an example.
It's a random example. What was it though? Well, I mean, like, yeah, so it doesn't have that much appearance, but it has literally no effect on the board game.
Right.
So it's like...
Yeah, it would be nice if strength meant like, oh, you can deal +1 damage.
Yeah. If that was just like next to the traits, it was just like,
like
all your damage is +1.
If there was a pull-out system, like,
yeah.
Like there was like a little tab that you could pull out being like, strength also helps with this, or like, dexterity also helps with this. But it doesn't. Because
it's so shitty to be like, I'm going to spend my turn leveling up. Once you have the armor and you're like, now I've leveled up, slap that armor on me and I'm good to go. And it's like, but if you get the armor and you can't level up, you feel bad. And if you level up and you don't have the armor, you feel bad. It's a feel bad all the way around.
I mean, I guess that's the whole point of the bonfire system, because I feel like we got some good stuff after the first fight. We should have
just bonfired and done it again.
We should have bonfired and done it again, and then made some pulls, and then see what we could upgrade, because at that point we'd be rocking... We would have had max without pulling or upgrading. We would have 16 souls. So we could have gotten a max. We make a pull, see what item we need, level that person up that wants it, put it on, make more pulls. And I know that is hard because the other 3 party members are not benefiting from that system.
Fucking... The other party members aren't doing shit. It's also, it's so shitty to be like, alright, pull a thing off the top. That's an upgrade. Pull a thing off the top. Alright, I can finally equip that if I put 8 souls into it.
Which I just ran out of.
Yeah. Because you didn't have enough for the...
Yeah.
It's just, at the end of the day, I feel like if I asked the Dark Souls board game people why all of this is like this, I would get some, like, long response and I still wouldn't be satisfied. And if I went to the people who made Gang Beasts and I was like, why the fuck am I just pass out in the beginning? They'd be like, that's funny. And that'd be it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. That's kind of funny.
Okay, so you've said that a lot, and I don't know if that's true. Like, you're just like, oh, they say that's funny.
I mean, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe it'd be like, because it affects the gameplay. Or like, well, that's a bug we're trying to work out of the game, and it's going to be fixed soon, we promise.
Why did it take you 2 years to release this, Gang Beasts?
And I mean, but that's the thing, though. Because at the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I care about the Dark Souls board game one, because it took me 4 hours. Fucking a bunch of hours to do it.
Way too long.
I invested a fuck ton into it. It's like, when you go out to, like, a Magic event, and I'm fucking like, alright, I think I'm doing pretty good, but I spend like 4 hours there and I don't win it all, and I'm like, this is a waste of time, this is bad.
Yeah.
And when I play a 30-minute game of Commander with my friends, and I'm like, oh, this was fun. Like, I didn't win, but like, I came out to have a good time, and I did.
Right.
Some fun stuff happened.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
I
mean, I guess it's like investment.
Yeah.
The cost of investment, because with your friends, you just got together and started playing. With the draft, you went there, you bought cards, you participated, and it took like your entire night.
Yeah, and if it wasn't good, then I felt shitty.
And then you felt bad. We drove out, like, kind of far out, and set up Dark Souls for an hour and a half, and then we played it for an hour and a half, and it crushed us.
Yeah.
And then we just drove here.
Yeah.
To record the podcast. Earlier today, we sat down and played Gang Beasts, and we're like, maybe another one just for the fun of it. And we did, and we had fun, and then it was like 20 minutes, and we left.
It's the kind of thing, too.
To go play Dark Souls.
When you have... So it's the difference between like a bad movie and a bad TV show.
Yes.
So if you watch a bad movie, you're like, that wasn't very good. But it was like an hour and a half, and you spent like $12. As opposed to like a TV show that you're like 4 seasons in, and then it dives, and you're like, what the fuck have I been doing all this time? If it was just going to do this to me at the end...
That's true.
Waste of time.
I thought you were going to be more... When you were going that way, I thought...
Oh, you thought the movie was the bad one?
Yes, I thought you were going to see movie was the bad one. Because, I mean, you were going to be like, oh, you spent money on it. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But at the same time, when you brought it into the TV and you laid it out like season 4, then it goes bad. I get that too, because you've invested way more time than the money you've invested into a movie.
Yeah.
And also, a movie being bad, that's the thing to laugh at.
Yeah.
TV show being bad,
Normally, it's not bad enough to.
Normally, it's not bad enough, but I can understand, like, it's kind of sad, too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe not in certain situations where you've just felt like, oh, it's lost its spark. I can't get into the characters as I used to. Like, the series should have ended a little while ago, and they're just, like, milking it now. It's literally jumping the shark. And in some cases, it just gets really shitty real fast. Like, it takes a stance on a certain topic that you didn't enjoy.
That's a lot of that's more YouTube problem I found.
Yeah, I feel
when
like.
I'm like following a creator and they're like, also X thing.
Yeah, it's like, I've been following you since 2010, and you drop this now?
Yeah, why would
without any provocation? There's some provocation. Is that the right word?
I guess, sort of.
I mean, it's like provoke.
Yeah, it's
without
like
any warning, like any
no reason. Like, it just like all of a sudden started happening. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like I want to say JonTron as an example, but he's been doing some questionable shit like for a while.
Yeah, there were some warning signs there. I was thinking more like it feels weird to like bring people up. Did you ever watch any of Mr. Enter's videos?
Yes, I did, and you told me to, and I started watching them, like, you were talking about them, and I'm like, oh, cool, and then eventually, like, I brought it up in a conversation, or you told me about it, like, you weren't watching anymore. I'm like, oh, man, that is actually really shitty, and there's a part of me that's like, I enjoy the comedy, I enjoy the video.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do I really want to be supporting someone who has these type of beliefs?
Yeah, that was it's one of the biggest things too, because it feels like, especially like on YouTube of all places, one person logging off the videos isn't gonna like cause them to change or anything.
Right.
It's the same sort of thing with CinemaSins. I used to watch them all the time, and I wasn't a huge fan of the content or anything, but I would watch them to fall asleep.
Right.
Just because it was somebody like talking a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
and
cool.
a kind of quiet tone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could fall asleep to that. And then I would. And then it was like, here's everything wrong with CinemaSins. And I was like, oh, alright, I guess I can stop.
What did happen?
Nothing, it's not one big thing. Or I guess it's not like some specific thing, it's an overarching thing. CinemaSins has got to the point where it's not like actual... They will say that it's not actual critiques while trying to be actual critiques at the same time.
Right.
But it's like a business now. They put out videos every single day, and they keep getting longer and longer, so they're just inflated with bullshit.
Yeah.
And they are hurting, like...
franchises.
Franchises and stuff, and movies and stuff.
Like, by demonizing certain things, it's like cliches that don't hurt anyone.
Yeah, it's like if you were gonna buy a movie, and then you saw like CinemaSins, everything
and you got the whole plot of the movie from the CinemaSins, that's one thing.
Or even if you don't because they misrepresent it, they hide things or they change things, or they get things wrong, and then they cover that like, oh, we're just like a comedy thing, and it's like, that's not good.
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, it's definitely... You gotta look at YouTube as a big brand deal.
Yeah.
Or like a big brand... What's the word? Showcase.
Yeah, everybody's trying to put their best foot forward.
And at the same time, it's like people that cover like old content or deal with... or just do whatever they want. I like those guys.
Yeah.
And like, sure, they might take a branded deal once in a while, but like... If you're playing a game just to mock it, I mean, I guess, can we really say we're not, like, totally free of this as well, but we're not attacking, like, games on the front lines.
Yeah.
We're attacking White Knight Chronicles.
Yeah, when we boot up a game to make fun of it, it's like fucking 20 years old.
And it's also a game that does not matter.
Yeah.
A game that is on the Wii or something like that.
And also, we're not that big. We're not making a business of this yet.
That's true.
If I were making a business of this whole thing, I'd be a little more hesitant about like what I say in this podcast.
That's true.
It's also the sort of thing that's just like... you can compare it to like a restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're at a restaurant, your server is like not great one time. You're gonna be like, oh, well, that sort of soured the meal. I don't know if I want to go back here anymore because of that. Or like you find a hair in your food and you're like, that just sort of threw off the whole thing. So you wouldn't go back there anymore. It's the same thing. It's not going to change the restaurant. Like the restaurant's not going to change because of it. But I mean, they can't do it forever. You know what I mean?
Right. Like with Nick Robinson and Polygon.
Yeah.
Polygon was the restaurant. Nick Robinson was the server. He
did things that would make people not want to eat there anymore.
He did things that would make people not want to eat there anymore. Like I saw something on Tumblr saying like that feel when you want to watch Carboys again, but then Nick Robinson is in it, and I'm like, I feel that too. Like, how would I so want to watch Touch the Skyrim again because it was just a fun time where they modded the shit out of Skyrim, but then like there's so many things tied to it. Like, oh, Nick Robinson is a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, he has treated his fans wrongly, was like a real dick, like right before it happened. Like, it's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
But like I don't understand like how he like the persona just dropped one day and he was just done.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how that happens. And in all these videos he just seems like a pretty chill guy who was doing all that, doing fun things with Griffin McElroy, and then another day he belittled someone for a game he was playing for them.
Which one was that?
He was Overcooked. It was Overcooked. He was playing it and he made a critique of the game. Oh no, in his report he wrote how he was annoyed about this thing in the game and like it pissed him off. And then one of the developers of Overcooked reached out to him, and he basically just said, "Shut the fuck up."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when the persona just fucking dropped. Like, he got annoyed with Overcooked, and then he just lashed out against them. And then everyone was like, "Hey, Nick Robinson, you've been doing a lot of shitty things behind the scenes, and it's just gonna come out now that you've been... Now, there's enough provocation. Now that you've provoked a reason to come at you like this." It seems like a shit idea, like a real shit move on his part. And I'm not saying like, oh, he was stupid about it.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done any of it.
Obviously, he shouldn't have done any of it in the first place.
I mean, I guess I can say that whole thing was a stupid move on his part.
Yeah, every single part of it.
Being a bad person was a stupid move on his part.
It seems bad when your whole following is just like, hey, I'm a funny guy on the internet. Also, look at all these shitty things I'm doing behind the scenes. Like, how the fuck do you think you're going to get away with that?
Yeah.
I can't imagine it. This episode got dark.
Yeah, it got dark. Because in some ways...
You can get away with it.
Yeah, you can get away with it. And I'm not being like, oh, fucking system's broken. No, because in internet culture, it's so hard to be a human being towards someone.
Yeah.
When you're on the screen and you're making fun bits and only fun bits, you're not doing anything like too serious or talking about problems. Like, I do wonder if Cracked has put on their web page or like YouTube page a video saying like, hey, this is what's happened. We have fired / let go a lot of our head writers and a lot of the face here at Cracked.com. And like, for a lot of people who tune in every day, it's like, hey, that's been a big impact to me, like emotionally. I would like answers. It seems like it would be nice to see that kind of thing.
They have not put up a video in 3 weeks.
Wow. What happened?
I don't know. The shittiest thing about it too is that they weren't like, they didn't do anything about it. So like when I Googled it, when I was trying to find out answers, the only thing that was there was like, anti-Gamergate site takes a big hit. It's like, maybe next time they'll think before they like take a stance like that.
Oh my god.
And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. This isn't your win, you asshole.
Yeah. Like...
And it's like, they obviously... They didn't take this big loss because they were suddenly the left now because they turned into a bunch of SJWs.
They always had stances like this.
Yeah. I would love like just a thing from Cracked about like, hey, here's everything that happened. Here's why we did it. But it's like it's not going to happen because they know that they're only going to get backlash for it.
They already did. Like in the last video they uploaded, like the Muppets thing.
Oh yeah,
there were people all in the
like,
comments just being like,
dude.
"What the fuck happened?
What did you guys do?"
Like, and it's there were already people like posting in the comments like, "Oh, they all have these are all their Twitters. If you want to go support them, see what they're doing next." And I can't imagine like what you would do next.
Yeah, seriously.
Like some of them, I feel like Cracked.com like has existed for so long, and some of them have been doing that, have been part of the company, have been like leadership positions in the company since like 2010, 2009.
A long goddamn time. There's also I was on Twitter and there was like it was a picture of Katie and the other After Hours crew, and it was like, here's a picture of us from the last After Hours. Really gonna miss these guys. And I don't know if that's like the last After Hours, like one that already showed up, or another one that was being worked on.
Yeah.
Because like I part of me is like I really would like to see it, but I know I'd be so goddamn sad about it.
Yeah, I do wonder if like they saw it coming, or like it just happened.
That was like a real thing that like just happened, based on everything, and it's like it's so shitty that like that's what happens.
Like so many of the series on the internet that I enjoy watching. Also, when they introduced the new After Hours, like the second After Hours, they made a point being like, but we're gonna keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like we're not going anywhere, and it's like that's a weird thing to say. Like before, you were all let go.
Yeah.
From the company. Like, are they just making a shift?
Like the company?
Like that would be weird, right?
It makes no sense, and it makes no sense like the people that they kept on and stuff.
Who did they keep on? They still kept on creative people.
Yeah, they kept on a couple of the creative people. Katie's there. I don't even know. Like I know I know most of the people who got let go, but I don't. Man, I can't even imagine it. I literally can't imagine it. They haven't put up a goddamn. And every single time that they post on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
Like other comments are still like that. They're still like, "What did you guys do?"
Yeah, and that's a bad thing to do.
It makes no sense. It's like a fucking. Can you imagine being like a business guy and you're like, yeah, fire all these people, and it's just like, let them go. We don't need them anymore. And it's like, hey, you realize that's like most of our 100% of our goddamn internet following, right?
I guess there's also like, I'm also thinking about this in the Nick Robinson debacle. People were asking Griffin like what like was going on, and he basically just said, "This is a personal matter. Inflaming it can make things worse.
Right.
Don't attack people who are coming out. We're dealing with this." And it's like, okay, I guess from a standpoint, you can't just be like, oh yeah, Nick owned up to it, he was doing all these things, because I guess it's easier for him to just step down instead of getting sued for sexual harassment, because I feel like if that's the case, I do wonder if he's been sued yet, but if he would be like, oh right, I forgot his apology. He failed to address the main problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was like, sorry for
abusing my power instead of sorry for sexually harassing women.
And that's the big thing is like there's no amount of apologizing you can do.
Yeah.
Sorry for doing that. Hope you'll continue to watch me. I'm going to take a step down from the internet for a bit, and then I'm going to come back with more fun videos.
Do fun goofs. He's still doing that on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
That's his life.
Because what else do you do? How do you fuck it up that bad? Can you imagine being in that position of power and then being like, I think I'm going to use this to hurt people.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use this to hurt people, and it's not going to come back to bite me at all.
Like, there's the thought that, did he think it'd work? Did he think he'd be able to get he'd be able to manipulate some girl into being like, yeah, I'll send you salacious pictures.
How sick, we are so late talking about this.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is like, I guess, it's the kind of thing. It's always happening. It's a huge thing in Hollywood this year that it was just like, yep,
Yeah,
was doing this to all
the
those
Nick
people.
Robinson thing happened in 2017.
Was it 2017 actually?
Yeah.
Shit. Feels like so long ago.
Yeah,
Because
because
2017 didn't stop coming.
it just kept coming. There's never like a reprieve from it. It was so many sexual harassment things too. Like I'm not stupid to think like, oh, it's not like they were just happening immediately. They've been happening forever.
Yeah, but 2017 was a big year for everybody coming out. It was just
And I think that's important. I think it's important for that type of thing to happen because it's like, hey, this isn't acceptable. Those who have been shown to do this will be penalized and will be outcast. It's a lot easier now for the internet
yeah.
because it's the internet and information spreads like wildfire. If it wasn't like an office space in the 80s and like it was just like the group knew,
Yeah.
but it's just like,
Wouldn't go anywhere. Nothing would happen.
nothing would happen. And that would just be really bad. Like,
But it's the kind of thing too that like, so we've got a society where people can be open. People can say like, this is what happened. Like this happened. Here's everything that this person has done, and it's like great. But now hopefully 2018 is the year of, and this is what's happening about it. These people are fucking going to jail.
yeah, that's true.
It's one thing to be like, and we've cut this person out of movies. Like and they have lost their book deal and they're not getting this or this or this. But it's like, it's still like not anything, you know what I mean? It's like, here's this person's apology video. Like, Nick Robinson's apology couldn't be anything. The thing that should have happened was like, Nick Robinson is fucking getting sued. Like, here's the goddamn case. I don't want an apology. I want something to happen, you know what I mean?
What I'm thankful for is like, sometimes I'm a bit too easily influenced, but what I've started doing is I look at the replies. Like, so is this? I can't be the one to say like this is enough. I'm never the person to like be that. So I looked in the replies after the thing. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't address the problems at hand, and he completely disregards emotion, like what actually happened and what he did wrong. It was a dismissal,
Yeah.
more than an apology, and I'm like, okay, good. I understand what they're saying with this, with these replies, responding to it, and I've formed my opinion. You can't be like, I guess it's just like seeing the data point. Like, okay, so
It's hard for one person to reach a conclusion.
yeah, with there was another Polygon thing that happened really close to it, and it was the Dream Daddy thing, and I told you about this.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like they made a joke about a trans man looking like Widowmaker from Overwatch before they knew that he was a trans man.
Yeah.
And then, but like the context that was taken out of it was Polygon, people at Polygon made fun of a trans man looking like a woman. And then the whole story is, it's not the best.
They didn't know. I
But
mean, it's still like a weird
like,
joke to make.
They were doing a bit where they were saying all of these characters are like the Overwatch characters.
Right.
And then this person in particular, this goth character, looked somewhat like Widowmaker, and like, so they would call them Widowmaker before they knew that they were a trans man.
Yeah, so some things get inflated to be an issue when there's not an issue. I mean, like, that's definitely some part of an issue. It's like, it's just a weird thing to do.
That's a shitty thing to do.
But it's another one to be like, people are always trying to find problems where there aren't. And it's like one of the weirdest things that it's like all these people are just trying to get famous with their like accusations and everything, and it's like, no, they're not. They're just trying to tear down people's careers, and it's like, why the fuck would people do that? Why do you think that's something people would do?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've gone too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. We got to like a real dark place.
The cake is a solid 8 out of 10.
Thanks. I think it was good too. I didn't think it was going to be that good when I saw white cake, white frosting, but it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good with milk. Delicious and moist. Then
Oh my god. You think Gabe Newell's ever
Dark Souls, the board
Sexually
game,
harass
is
someone.
worse than Gang Beasts.
good ending to the
That's my
topic.
official stance. I was gonna make a thing that's like, they're really non-comparable, they're totally different experiences and games, but at the end of the day, Gang Beasts is better. Top 10 games of 2017. Number 1, Gang Beasts. Number 2, Dark Souls board game.
Whoa, wait a minute. No.
That's it.
Okay. We should talk about that though next podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like, once I've played board
Also,
games.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year's.